record on, so I want to see. Shout out to Robert Redford, who has passed away this week, but didn't get much attention. He was a humanitarian, among other things, and you will be sorely missed. So I want to touch on this video right here. And the reason why I'm going live is because if Big J or somebody else pops in that's from there, I got questions. I got some serious questions. And I'm going to just listen. Just want you to listen to what's being said here, because it's the same adage that has happened in the past, where men say to women, "See what you made me do." So when men have abused women in the past and they beat their wives down, beat their children down, and things like that, the thing after they're done is like, "See what you made me do" type of mentality. But here's some of this stuff. I want to get to. She has a really good commentary, but I want to address what this man says. So let me try to find it. I'm going to mute for a minute, and then I'm going to find what he has to say, and then I want to play what he has to say. But if you want to hear what she has to say about what he's saying, listen to her channel. Oh God, what is her channel name? The video title is "So Women Owe Men Gratitude or Else." This is what the guy is saying. So let me mute, and then I'll be back.
And
Pretty soon he'll be, but she's making very valid points.
What they were making, but even taking all those things into account, that doesn't justify behavior where you're threatening women or giving ultimatums. The same way politics should never justify violence of any kind. Let's keep going and hear Deb out.
Ah, shit.
Do not tell me that you are cursed.
No, it's kind. Let's keep going and hear Deb out.
Dating came up, and she went on to talk about how she's
So we
enjoying
know
being
this is a
single.
made up.
She's now at
A lot
point
of the
where she
stuff he
just
said.
remains
Come on.
single. And as we dove a little deeper, she said things like, women don't need men anymore. Women are making their own money now. They don't need protection from the barbaric, abusive.
Did she say that, or did your Manosphere ecosystem say that? Because this sounds very contrived. I'm sorry. It doesn't sound like a conversation you're in a date and a woman just goes and... This is what she's saying to you? Come on, quit lying. Let's continue.
Controlling lunatics of the past. And I told her, you do understand that what you're saying is pure, unappreciative arrogance.
Okay, so there's a couple of different ideas here.
So I know she has her perspective, but I want to give you my perspective on what he's saying, but please go watch her video. So he's doing the Manosphere talking points we have heard for over 15 years now on social media. Okay? And the talking point is that if you happen to, he goes on a woman that goes to the gym and she's working out, but she's minding her own business, but she's working out, minding her own business, and she's not really paying him any attention. Okay? And he considers that being arrogant. He doesn't consider that he's very, even his attitude in the video is very pushy. So if he wanted to have a date with a woman, like, he's going about everything the wrong way. But instead of making himself accountable for his actions and maybe trying to look into what it is that this woman's trying to tell him, or this figmented woman is trying to tell him, doing any of those things. And that is the society, when I call dysfunctional patriarchy, this is that type of dysfunctional patriarchy. The dysfunctional patriarchy doesn't address their own issues. Never do they address their own issues. They never address the things that they do in relationships that cause those relationships to collapse. They never will do that. Okay. Let me get back. I'm gonna mute and let me find again where he's speaking. But she has some super duper valid points. I want you to go listen to her.
No, at least they feel like they have no good reason to
He's
be
saying most young men.
very de-incentivized. That should scare women. I'm not saying that to mean. I'm saying that from a realistic point of view.
So he begins his argument, and again,
Let me roll that back a little bit because I want exactly what he was saying. Let's see if I can get it to the beginning. Hold on. Let's see.
Sisters decide to show their face. And if we step back, think a little deeper with the current dating situations and just the economy and everything, most young men are not happy. Most young men have no, at least they feel like they have no good reason to be a good man. Very de-incentivized. That should scare women.
So basically, he's saying because men aren't being given incentives to be good men, why should they be good men? Is that what he's telling women? And if you think about this statement, why on earth would young women want to date men like this? Why would they want to open their physical bodies up, their emotional bodies up to men who feel that the only reason why they should date you is for incentives? And what are those incentives? We all know what those incentives are, among some other things. So this is where I want to get into. I know people have talked about being a Sigma male, Sigma female and stuff, but Sigma males and Sigma females, they are not looking for incentives. They incentivize themselves. So if being in good shape or being very healthy is their incentive, they don't need somebody else to validate them and to push that incentive onto them. They already know how to do that. They don't need an outside source to get them to where they need to be because they are already that. So if a Sigma male is running a corporate business, of course he's got employees, but let's be honest, that person does need validation from outside sources to create, run, and have a thriving business. They just don't need that. Don't need people to incentivize them to do it. So people who need incentivizing are narcissists, that's one. And people who are very weak-minded are also people who need to be incentivized. So, hey, Big J. Oh, it's more than sex, yeah. Hey, I was gonna have you come on, but I don't know how to do it from this thing. But I want you to hear what this guy has to say because it's so ridiculous. It's not even funny. Like he's threatening women in the dating field that if they don't give in men or give women don't give men incentives to date them, get violent. That's what he's saying. Let me play more.
I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that from a realistic point of view.
That's
so
his
he
realistic
begins
point of
his
view.
argument, and again, when you start violence, he's warning
Okay.
women that their safety
I'm trying to find
depends
some
on
more parts that he's
appeasing
talking.
men, and that is the language of intimidation.
I mean, that's a fact.
When good, decent men are, spit on, for lack of a better term, by all the women around them, they can turn into the monsters really, really fast.
Dev, you have a YouTube page.
So what do you think about that comment, Big J, if you're still here? So he's saying that if you don't submit to these men and their abuses, then submit to them, then they can become monsters. As if women don't already know this is why this is why they're not dating. I would love to poll people, and I would like to ask people in their childhood, how much abuse have they seen with aunts, uncles, grandparents, parents, and this type of behavior from men. I would love for people, men and women, to poll how much abuse they've seen in their life. I would love for people to be open and honest about this. And I wish this guy would be open and honest, because his scare tactics and the phrase of becoming a monster pretty much is telling about his personality. It's telling us everything we need to know about this guy's personality. That basically, if you don't give in to them, give them what they want, and they're going to commit a terroristic act upon you and become monsters. Do you hear this? Let's play more. I want to find his channel.
Last time we featured you, you're talking about how women who listen to hip hop are really bad for society. Before you go saying you have a page dedicated to tearing down men.
Oh, facts, Big J.
In modular closets, we use stronger materials and smarter
Hold on.
Tearing down men? No, we're talking about relationship dynamics. We're helping people understand why these ideas are wrong and what better ideas would be, more in line with a better morality.
We have a
Well, we got a president allowed this to happen.
Very,
this is what they voted for.
Broken,
to be violent again.
And I think when I heard her discuss this stuff, and she didn't like the things I was saying, like I'm saying now, she's really taken for granted the fact that good men are upholding the structure that she takes for granted. In fact, she kind of puts it down, talks bad about how bad it is, and this. We're living in the greatest country in the world, and that's not meant to be controversial to you guys. I mean, you can argue that all you want, but she did a lot better as a woman than the vast majority of women in the world.
And what Dev is doing here is speaking to the
I
bigger
definitely will
problem.
hear her point of view on
So many
this.
people in today's society want to ignore the historic systems and the outcomes they've led to. Women are still fighting for their rights. They actually just lost their rights. Depending on what state you're in, you don't have a choice over your own body. And that wall was made by old white men. But let's keep going.
Yeah, I want to discuss that as well. So posted a couple of videos where a woman, especially there was a woman in Texas who was with her man, and she had a miscarriage, and her boyfriend at the time, or her significant other, she bled all over in the bed because the miscarriage, she was hemorrhaging, right? And she went to a hospital in Texas, and none of the doctors would treat her. So what she needed was a DNC, was a cleaning out of the fetus, because the fetus was they call no longer a viable fetus. The fetus had already passed away, and she was hemorrhaging. And guess what? She couldn't get any care. She couldn't get any care in Texas. So this is not something that happens to men. If a man had an issue where he was bleeding out, do you think that any doctor would hesitate to treat him? Are there any laws on the book or the books that prevent a man being treated if he's bleeding out? Which is what she was doing. She was hemorrhaging. She was hemorrhaging and had lost so much blood. And they would not give her a DNC. They blood transfusions, but it didn't stop the cause of the bleeding. Even if she got blood transfusions, she was bleeding the blood transfusions out. And that's one story among many in this dysfunctional patriarchy that we call our system right now, where men like this think women got it easy, right? That what he's saying is, oh, well, you should submit to me because you got it easy. That's what he's saying. Let's play what he says.
And there was zero appreciation for the men that built this and maintained it today. There was zero appreciation for the safety that she takes for granted. Zero appreciation.
So this is another thing that really irks my fucking ass is men like this claim they build everything and they fucking don't. Okay? My dad built it. My dad built bridges. My dad built buildings. My dad built houses. My dad did plumbing. So this kind of man, and see, I know the difference between an alpha type of man, which was what my dad was. He didn't need kudos from anybody. He just did what he did. He conducted himself. Did he make mistakes? Yeah, he made mistakes. He wasn't perfect. He wasn't Jesus. However, he was a good man. And he gave me an example of what real men do and provide for their families. Okay, he gave me that instruction and that example. He also did that to my daughters, and my daughters have very good marriages with very good men. Okay, so I digress. Men like this always want to claim or be on the skirt tails of other men and claim they do so much to create this world we live in. We just got done deporting how many Hispanic people that have built houses and homes in America for Americans, you know, like him, and they deported them. So did you give them any thanks? I'm just curious. Did you give any of those Mexican kitchen workers any thanks for what they built in America? No, you fucking deported them. Okay? We have Hispanic people that have built casinos, hotels in Las Vegas. I can speak on for myself. Buildings, malls that all your stores are created in, that you people like him can just go sublet in a storage building or a building and create their business and stuff. These people actually have built off their backs and sweat and tears and hard work. But he and men like him want to claim all the glory. They always want to claim the glory. And there are women construction workers, in case you didn't know. So he's saying that women don't contribute, they just take. Well, let me just say this. If it's pot calling the kettle black, men like him take and contribute nothing. And continue to take and continue to cry about what they're taking, what they can't get.
For the men that are respectful, even if she's not so nice to them. That error that a lot of women are showing today, and a lot of women are displaying today, and women are just feeling today, that arrogance could quickly be changed.
Oh, he's threatening now. So let me just say this. Women, and I've showed videos where they've just merely turned men down, and they've been nice about turning them down. And one example was my own daughter in the elevator. And 4 and 5 men jumped on the elevator with me, her, and her then boyfriend's mother. And then they proceed to accost her, saying she doesn't want to give them her phone number. You know, these nice men, he claims, these really nice guys, and that if you don't acquiesce them, then they're going to give you what you're looking for. He's basically telling you how violent he's going to get, and these men are going to get. Right? Which I already know because I've already seen it happen. And I've made videos where women are just doing their motherfucking business at a restaurant by themselves and then get accosted by men who come up and think that they to their body, their energy and all those things, and just simply saying, no, I'm not interested, will set a motherfucker off. Okay? That's a problem. That's a problem.
I hope this isn't the case and whatnot, but all of these angry young men, these broken young men that have no hope, they feel beaten, they feel down, they feel robbed, they feel scammed. You just expect those guys to stay good guys.
And again, we start seeing this threat of conditional violence.
So I'm gonna let her play in just a minute, but he's basically saying that you're expecting them to stay good guys. Let me just say this: good guys stay good guys. Good men stay good men. So if they get turned down on a date, they move on. Okay? They continue to be the good guy. You know who doesn't continue to be good guys? Men who claim good guys and they're absolutely not. Those are the ones that get violent. Those are the ones you can't fucking trust. And those are the ones do exactly what he's saying. They're going to flip the fucking script. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They're going to do that shit. So, but the only ones that stay from when they get turned down are the good guys. And they know they're fucking good guys and they're okay with getting turned down. Okay? So, the ones that aren't okay are the guys that absolutely are not the good guys that he claims they are. Let's continue.
Violence, responsibility, fear mongering. Of course, all of this is flawed because decency isn't supposed to be a transaction. Your morality should not be dependent on whether someone praises you or not. Your morality should exist outside others' behaviors.
I don't have time for bullshit, so I use the no bullshit.
Hold on.
Others' behaviors.
So, I just want to say this too. So, men talk about, and I've said this over and over in Manosphere, and I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, so I stopped saying it. But I'm going to reiterate it here. Men are the reason they've created the environment that prostitution exists in. Men are the reason and created the environment that pornography is in existence. Men are the reason that these women that you claim are arrogant exist. Men are the reason for all those things because they're creating environments that women have to choose the better provider, okay? That women want to choose the better provider because that's what the system structure is based on. It's not based on whether these men have good qualities anymore. It's not whether they can actually provide for you or do things or fix things or create things or what maybe. That's not the environment we're living in. We are living in a dysfunctional patriarchal system which affects these men, but they're not smart enough to realize that they are in the crosshairs of a dysfunctional patriarchy, which is why they have the grief. Instead of going after what is causing them their problems, they're going after women because it's easier to take their aggression and their monster attitude, as he puts it, out on women than it is to go and fight a system structure that is dedicated to plowing men down. Case in point, the American farmer right now are about to lose all their farms. So instead of going after the system structure that created that environment, which is right now the particular governing system, they're going after Democrats who have nothing to do with it. They're not in power. They're going after other people and they're being distracted. And that's that part of being a Sigma man. A Sigma man is very wise, as a Sigma woman. A Sigma man understands, investigates, and knows where the sound of the roaring lion is coming from. These men don't. They don't. They have no clue what the root cause of their problem is. So they continue, and I mean continue, to complain about women and arrogant women all day long. Because it's the arrogant woman, you know, the model, the woman in the gym who is, you know, her vanity is who she is. That's her whole social makeup. That's the woman they choose. That's the woman they can't have, and that's the woman they choose. But she's also their problem. They create the problem. Okay? Let's continue.
I hope they stay good guys, but I'm telling you right now, ladies, saying the things that she said, like making fun of men in the dating market and laughing about how you're making great money. You don't need a guy. You don't really want a guy. It ain't the 1950s anymore.
I just want to say this. Any woman that's saying that they don't need a man is really saying they want a man. So I don't know if you know psychology 101, but that's 101. Any woman saying she does not need a man is saying she needs a man. Point blank, period. I mean, read through the bullshit. The only women that aren't saying they need a man and aren't even on here saying anything, one's just creating their own lives and doing their own thing. But if a woman is on social media saying she doesn't need a man and she's making all this money, she definitely needs. She's looking for a man. Okay. The ones that aren't, they just don't give a fuck.
Don't have to do anything. Well, they don't have to be gentlemen either. They don't have to be. The bad guys are only kept in line by the good guys. And right now, it feels like with the younger generation, the guys are going to start dropping off more and more, maybe even joining the bad guys team.
The good guys stay good guys, okay? They don't drop off. The good guys continue to be good guys because that is who they are from the core of their being. So those good guys, they don't care whether they get women or don't get women. And a lot of them have no problem getting women. So-called good guys that he's talking about, the real ones, have no problem getting women. It's the pretend good guys who have a problem getting women. It's the wolf in sheep clothing type of good guys that got a problem with getting women. It's not the real good men. The real good men have no problem. Okay?
Maybe joining Team Villain.
So here we see Dev talking about how the woman for Jim was making fun of men in the dating
He
market,
lying.
but he actually never gave us an example of that.
Oh.
But I think what this is instead is a zero-sum thinking of dating. Dev frames women's independence as a direct threat to men, as if women earning more money or pursuing careers or enjoying being single automatically disrespects men. And the reality is that women having more options doesn't erase men's worth. It simply raises the standards for relationships.
They don't want to raise the standard though.
Independence doesn't equal arrogance.
So let me iterate for her. They don't want to raise the standard because if they wanted to raise the standard, they would have picked a better president. If they wanted to raise the standard, create laws, and they would create things that would make life a better standard for all people. And I'm not just talking about women. I'm talking about genders. I'm talking about no matter what your sexual orientation is. It doesn't matter what your race is. It doesn't matter what your religion is. You would want to create it where everybody gets to thrive. It wouldn't be subjugated or reduced down to a racial and gender specific notation. It wouldn't do that. So when you have people voting for white supremacy and hoping that white supremacy wipes out anything that is equality related, it lets you know the weakness. It's a serious weakness. Men who feel that they have to racially subjugate people and take supremacy over other people, it's a weakness. People who feel that because they're a male and they feel like they can subjugate women, it's a weakness, okay? It's a bravado of false strength. They don't really want to raise the bar or raise the standard for better men. That's not what they're looking for. These are men in the gutter, men in the gutter, and want all men to be in the gutter, and all men aren't. There are divinely ordained men of God or the divine being of the universe that are still here, and they don't want to come up to that level. Sorry, they just don't. These dudes don't want to elevate to that level. So they're never going to do what she thinks they should do and raise the bar or raise the standard.
And so this is a real common theme where we see men seeing this independence, freedom that women have as hostility towards men, but in reality, everyone operates under that same freedom and independence. It's just women who historically didn't. We also see him continue the monster narrative. Good men will become villains. And so, what he's trying to do here is shift responsibility for male violence onto women's behavior rather than men's choices. And it normalizes men's fragility. Instead of men to be resilient, what Dev is suggesting is that women must manage men's emotions to keep them from lashing out. And this is
Women have throughout history managed men's emotions, prevent fathers from beating their children. Women have throughout history managed men's emotions by making themselves so small, like a little mouse in the house, so that that man didn't feel any threat by his female counterpart in the home. So women have been managing men's emotions for centuries. And I think we've come to a time where you have hit the crossroads and women are tired of managing men's emotions when that is a man's responsibility to manage his own fucking emotions. So if he is out of pocket and uncentered, that is his responsibility to manage his emotions, just like it's our own fucking responsibility to manage our emotions. And we fucking do. And to the detriment of most women, they have managed their emotions so much that they even forget who the fuck they are, because they have put it under wraps, put it under the rug, so that it can cause stress to that male counterpart in their household. So they've been trying to manage their own emotions and these men's emotions when they fly the fuck off the handle. I really want to hear real dialogue from society and hear how many of these men have watched abuse in their home towards their mothers or their grandmothers or their aunts. I want to hear it, because that's not something, nobody's even talking about that. And that is the root cause of a lot of this aggression or this monster behavior that this man is speaking of. They don't want to get to the root causes, what they witnessed. Sadly. Let's continue.
a real classic victim blame structure that excuses bad male behavior that's inevitable for reactions to women's independence.
I pray that doesn't happen. That's a scary. But the more I see these
Body language. He prays that doesn't happen, but he looks away from the camera, and he's going to the side, and that's like a tell sign. It's not that you pray that doesn't happen. You hope that it happens. The sign of you hoping that it does happen, because you want to put women back in control, in subjection. So not being honest and being able to look right into the camera and say that doesn't happen, you looked away. Body language.
women being arrogant and rude, putting down men, making fun of men, making them feel not good enough when they're busting their ass, or at least trying to bust their ass, getting no appreciation, no pat on the back, no respect for their efforts. You might see a lot.
Women who have those good men that they claim they have, and I'm not saying all women are good women, because childhood traumas, and they have chains that bind them emotionally and mentally, and so sometimes they do marriages and they're not quite right to be married. So I'll give him that on that. Is sometimes women are fucking broken too, and they marry broken women, and the women don't give them what they're needing. But a mature, very self-aware woman, Sigma woman, is thankful, and she understands to be, and is it, let that counterpart that she has know how thankful she is, and he does vice versa. It's not a one-way street. So that's that communication in relationships. So it goes both ways. You both give each other what you want, because that's what the relationship, you have a partnership. Okay? So you're giving each other what you want, because that's how you're building the relation, and the foundation is built on that. but there's no maturity in a lot of these men, and vice versa. There's no maturity in women. And I'm not just saying it's one-sided, it's both sides. However, sit and say that you're going to start becoming monsters and be violent, oh, brother, that's a whole nother ball game.
A lot of people in the future becoming a villain. That's scary. And I don't think women understand
Oh, we understand.
the responsibilities.
That's why a
You know
lot
what
of
I'm
us are
saying?
single.
Can't find clothes that fit your dog? At Spark Pop, taking
Okay, so let's take a step back. Yes, men. But I feel like Dev is ignoring the structural issues for men, right? He points out men are unhappy financially and socially, but he's blaming women instead of things like wage stagnation,
Oh, that part.
housing affordability, a lack of mental health support, and a collapse of male-dominated industries. By making women a scapegoat, he's diverting attention from the real systematic issues.
Point blank,
driving male
period.
Discontent. But you gotta remember, his entire argument is built on a single gym conversation. And so this is a wide overgeneralization. This was a conversation with one woman exaggerated into a sweeping claim.
So that is where she doesn't understand. This is bullshit and lies. I did not have a conversation with a woman at the gym, and this is what they spoke on. It's lies. It's fucking lies. And that's another problem. The problem is a lot of these people don't know how to be fucking honest. That's a goddamn lie. He didn't have a conversation with a woman in his gym over these topics. The Manosphere talking points. This is his echo chamber Manosphere talking points. This is the conversation they have. It wasn't a woman in the gym that spoke to him. Maybe in his mind, he wishes one of those women was having a conversation with him, but he's deluded in thinking that he had the conversation with the woman in a gym. It's a lie. It's an illusion.
About a lot of women. So, but again, I mean, he's using anecdotal evidence to come to a universal conclusion that is just structurally flawed. But I think his underlying argument is just really flawed also, where he's making the case that men are doing all the heavy lifting, yet he claims they get no appreciation. You know, but if men are really holding society together, they're compensated materially, right? They get paychecks, essential roles, social ability. Respect doesn't have to mean.
So I just was having a conversation with my mom, and I'll reiterate this. My mom has worked her whole life, off and on. Okay? So she's worked, I want to say she was 18 or 17, and she married a Filipino man, and he came here in his 50s, and he started working. Now, my mom worked the same time he was here, the whole time, full-time jobs, more money than him in her job, and guess what? This is to tell about the patriarchal system. He makes more in Social Security getting here at 50 than she has her whole life, and working a job the whole time he's been working and making more money than he did, yet she makes less in Social Security. Tell me how that happens. This is the structure I'm speaking of. This is the unequal structure when it comes to me as a feminist that I don't jive with. And I don't think is right. I don't think is fair. And I think it's pretty much bullshit. My dad's wife, she had been married several times before my dad. And my dad was married to my mom before. And when my dad passed away, instead of getting her Social Security, which would be significantly less, her daughters had to get her on my dad's Social Security. Now, she only got it for about a year after my dad passed away, because then she passed away. But she only got that Social Security at that amount from my dad for about a year. But her money that she made when she worked her whole life didn't equal anything to what he made. Now, yes, my dad was a tradesman. However, this is what I'm getting at. They've got a system set up so if you're not married, basically screwed with Social Security. But now I don't even know how that's going to be because Doge going in and gutting Social Security and doing all this quote unquote fraud and abuse bullshit line. Who knows what's going to happen when it's time for retirement age for anybody, honestly. But these men are all a part of this. They wanted that system structure to be that. And my thing is this. He's talking about women who make more money. Rosie O'Donnell has been attacked by Trump like forever that we know of, right? But Rosie O'Donnell has never relied on a man because she is a lesbian. She's been in lesbian relationships, so she has made significant money as a lesbian woman. So is he speaking on that as well? Because some women in this community that we call the United States of America that don't want to be with men and will never be with men. And then there's another significant portion of women who just won't. They're not lesbian, they're not gay. However, they don't want to be with men either. They don't see the value in being in relationships, and vice versa. There are a lot of men who don't see the value in being in relationships with women, and I get that as well. The MGTOWs, I get the true MGTOWs, right? I really do. I honestly do. I get them, doing thing, being in it, but they're not on social media bashing women on a daily basis. They're just doing their own thing. But men like this who have these different panels and think that it's okay for men to be monsters, there's a problem with that. That if you can't get what you want from a woman, you get to be a monster and it's justified? No, 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 no.
Women should date them, sleep with them, or show gratitude on command. I mean, in the end, Dev treats women's independence as gratitude, shifting blame for men's struggles onto women instead of the systematic problems. And he leans in on the fear-based narrative that essentially says, answer to men or else. It's not just logically weak, it's very manipulative.
So, I have a problem with men who think like that. I have a problem with men who think they are the good guy when they are absolutely not the good guy. I have a problem with, and I know you're not the good guy because you're out there saying you're going to start being monsters in because you can't get what you want. Women who are single aren't out there saying, I'm going to be a monster to you to get what I want. They're not doing that. They're just leaving you the fuck alone and okay being alone. And for some reason, these men think that's a problem. And I have a problem with them thinking that's a problem. So I'd love to have a discussion with Big J about this. I don't know if he's still here or not, but yeah, I have a problem with this guy. I don't know what his channel is because I'd like to check out and do it and have a do a back and forth because men being monsters and stuff over women being single and not wanting them is not appropriate. It's not. Anyways, I think I'm going to end this. How the hell do I end this?